I love the national park system within our country, and I'm at Cumberland Gap. I'm going to do something today that's been on my Kentucky bucket list and national park bucket list for a good long time. The Hensley settlement tour. Going to ride up to the top, look over the settlement up there, hear some history about it, and then when I'm done there, probably explore a little bit around here at Cumberland Gap. Probably walk through the gap where Daniel Boone led people. May try to even go up to the tri-state area where Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky connect here in the park. Lovely fall day for this in late October of 2022. More videos to follow. Looking forward to the day. I'm up here at the visitor center. Little platform that they have, a little overlook. The gap is right over there. Of course, you still have some leaves on the trees that you can't see it. Probably easier to see it from 25 down there, which goes right under it. Just pretty cool engineering marvel of the Cumberland Gap Road.
Lord, don't ask me. I done it. I don't know. All I remember is I'm not doing it. It's a lot easier to ride this bus.
Was it a really long one?
Oh gosh, yes. Yes.
They say you got to walk about a mile, but it's...
Oh, we'd walked about.
Yeah, over here on the right, that's Slade Creek. It's a waterfall. You see a waterfall sometimes. That is Kentucky Wildlife Management from that.
We are going up.
It's like going up the Chamber Island.
Wow.
So the Park Service takes us up to the top here, and you saw some of the crazy road that we took to get up here to the Hensley settlement, and I'll show a little bit more of the road going down. It's pretty precarious. Up here at the top, it's just so beautiful up here. Up at the top of the mountain, doing a tour of the Hensley settlement. So the Park Service guide said this is a hybrid chestnut tree that they're trying to reintroduce, and pretty cool. Continuing on the tour.
Behind the Park Service got the property, so they just happened to work out that way. And this is an example of one of a given structure. It's Floyd Gibbons' workshop. So, and this gets me a little about preservation here. I mentioned about this is mostly original, but maybe you can kind of notice there is something wrong with the building. I don't know. It's easier to tell from the back. We used to let people in here because it's kind of cool to see the workshop, because there's a sand horse in there. There's some tools of the time period we have. Kind of give you an idea of what Floyd Gibbons was doing here, because he was kind of the tinkerer of the community. If you needed something fixed, you probably brought it to him. He was a blacksmith too, but he's probably doing mostly minor stuff, like fixing tools. Maybe make you a shovel or something if you needed it, or a pickaxe. But so he's doing stuff like that here as well. in the 1903. We would put butter and milk mostly. I guess eggs too, possibly. This is to keep everything safe, keep it cool. Running water, looking at it today.
So this log right here that goes the length of this barn is made out of chestnut wood. That is a long log. Such a beautiful area.
Would be really nice if they put double cross coming up here.
Sadly, tour guides have not done us any favors at other houses, spreading lies about low ceilings.
Probably easier to heat the fireplace.
Yeah, exactly. So waiting on anybody else?
Well, then maybe it is. This is school desk.
I think it's just a desk.
Desk.
Yeah. I don't believe any of this furniture in here is original.
No, I don't.
That's what Lucas told me it wasn't. Good. So he went under the floorboards and out the back into the woods. By the time they came in here, he was gone.
Well,
He hadn't even put his shoes on. It's winter.
wow.
So he's carrying his shoes, running into the woods in his socks. The 40s look for him. They can't find him. He will then come back after a couple of days to try to like insulate the houses a little better.
Be a lot of mud over there. There's a lot of big cracks. Right off
I
that
think
place.
that would not have been there bad.
This is the school building. Another outhouse over there. And this is where we came in on the property.
Welcome to the schoolhouse. We got everybody here, I see.
Was this rebuilt?
This was rebuilt.
So it looks newer.
Yeah, it does. It's one of. I meant there were two structures. The one original. This is one of them. There were three schoolhouses. So the first one, the first two burned. All of them burned down, I think.
So Sherman Hensley is buried up here. And you can see he died in 1979, but I think the community ended probably around 1947. There's a lot of history here, you know, with several families that were here in the early 1900s. Maybe 100 people at one time. Anyway, very cool, very nice tour, very well preserved for the most part. Time for lunch. So we get an extra little piece of the tour. Gonna check out this cabin down here, just had some lunch. This is a fantastic place. And it's just so quiet.
There's one thing in that room that a lot of visitors don't realize what it is. No, it's used for quilts. It was put down.
I could get used to this.
It's got good brakes. Yeah, we came up this much faster.
Yes. I didn't have time to look.
I'm up here at the Pinnacle overlook area of Cumberland Gap, overlooking Tennessee side. Pinnacle overlook over there is full of people, and I just got stung by a yellow jacket. So I didn't want to stay over there because I don't like them things. And I don't want them coming back. I'm going to make a couple observations about the Hensley tour specifically, and I may do that in just a couple little clips here. But number one, I just love the national park system, and they put together a good tour there. Got it for half off with Park Pass, America the Beautiful, whatever it's called, senior edition. And so that's nice to get that. But you know, some of the ride to the settlement, which is up on the mountain, was on just regular roads, but then you pull off for several miles where you're on kind of a gravel dirt road that's gated and locked. And so that was precarious, a little bit precarious, and you could see that in some of the video there. But just a neat experience, just being able to do that and having a park ranger give a little history. You know, the Hensley family, you know, it's no real big deal, but it is a slice of life from the early 1900s, late 1800s, of just what life was like around these parts. And so that was my first observation. Just a good tour. I would encourage you all, as you find National Park Service locations around the country, take advantage of not just going to the overlooks like this, which are grand and well worth it, well worth just coming for that, but it's a bonus when you get to do some kind of tour like that. And so take advantage of those type of things. Okay, on my situational awareness video, I said to be looking out for stuff like that. It's a hornet's nest. It's not necessarily active that I can tell, but it's right here on the main trail going up to an overlook into Tennessee at Cumberland Gap. You know, you can be aware of your situation and find things like this, but then what do you do when you do find it and they come after you? You run like the dickens. I'm not going to hang around long enough for that to happen. This is a good place to do this other observation about the Hensley tour, because maybe you can tell from this point, compared to the rest of the video at the Hensley settlement, it's a lot louder. All that road noise down there. Just because you're in this national park at Cumberland Gap doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be away from road noise and the sounds of civilization. But at the Hensley tour, and I would say quite a bit of the ridge trail that runs through here, if you're going to backpack it or just do some day hiking, you're going to find a lot of quiet. Not here at the overlook. Just an observation. If you're looking for quiet, something like the Hensley Settlement Tour is a good thing, especially on the East Coast. There's just so few places you can go anymore where you're not going to get some kind of road noise. There's just some kind of civilization noise, and so that's kind of a little bonus to doing something like that. I'm on the Wilderness Road Trail where Daniel Boone took people through, and probably a lot of other people came through here. It was a warrior's path for Native Americans and just a lot of stuff. And this is a really good place to make this next observation about the Hensley tour. I love history, and I especially love the history out here. And so in keeping with that, that's why I like the National Park Service, because there's things that they've preserved and you get to find out about the history and all that stuff. And I like to be at the place where history was made and all that stuff. I just don't like just reading about it, even though I do enjoy that as well. But I do have the propensity, I do lean sometimes toward kind of looking at some of that stuff with romantic eyes, or maybe that's not exactly the right word, but I'll just use that for now. That, oh, look at that settlement up there, the Hensley settlement. What a peaceful place, what a beautiful location, away from the distractions of life. Obviously, it was a century ago, and so all those distractions in life weren't available. But it's just a reminder to me that I got to be careful not to romanticize stuff like that and think that it's all so cool, even though it is pretty cool, and it was a wonderful tour overall. The fact of the matter is, life was hard back then. To think about that area up there. It's a big flat, not flat, but more of a prairie setting where they did farming, and I think they said 400 acres that the Hensley family owned up there. As a side note, when Mr. Hensley, whatever his name is, I forgot, was moved by his family, his children. They sold it to the park system, I think somewhere around the late 40s, early 50s. So anyway, life was hard. Life was hard in a way that none of us modern people, especially this modern man, has much of a clue about, as far as trying to live off the land and live in that kind of circumstance and that kind of location. Winters were harsh, and you couldn't just flip a switch and be warm. You had to cut the wood and fire up the stove, and you had to keep that thing going. And you had to work hard to get your food. You had to work hard to be clothed. You had to work hard. So just an observation about the tour for any of you all that kind of have that same leaning about simpler, easier times, better times, whatever. Everything has a context, and we can't just look at it from the eyes of today and assume some things about back then. It was difficult. And the Hensley settlement kind of shows you a bit of that, but it's also just a wonderful setting where you can kind of think, I'd like to live here. I'm on the trail that goes up to the Tri-Corner Shelter where Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky meet. And you can see Pinnacle up there, Cumberland Gap. Just another this is a logistical observation in regard to doing the Hensley settlement tour. And it probably would have been better if I had done this somewhere on the road going up or down the Pinnacle Road, because it has something to do with roads. If you're going to do the settlement tour and you're going to bring your lunch and you're going to eat it up top, whenever the tour is done, keep in mind you are riding the same windy road that you went up. You're going to go back down, and it's going to feel a little different. So you may want to keep it light on the lunch. You may want to get something to kind of settle that car sickness, so to speak. Logistical help for you if anybody's made it this far in the video. Maybe I should lead with that, because that is one of the important takeaways that I probably have not seen anywhere in any of the literature or any other videos that people have made about this place. So there's your tip.